Hey, it's James from Marketing for Restaurants here, and welcome to episode 104 of Secret Sauce, the restaurant marketing podcast. How to move your customers to the right on the restaurant customer loyalty graph.
Some restaurants are quiet, lose money, and the owner works 70 hours a week. Other restaurants are busy, profitable, and the owners work a few hours a day. What's the difference? They have a secret sauce. Join James from Marketing for Restaurants as he helps you come up with your recipe for restaurant success. Your secret sauce.
Hey everyone, welcome back. How did you get on with the restaurant trends for 2019? You know, the one thing that I think is most important is just think about that passion, think about the role that's going to play in your restaurant, because that is literally everyone's secret sauce, and it's different for every single restaurant. It's different for every person. And it's one of those things that you just don't see enough of, I think. Now, what we want to talk about today is the restaurant customer loyalty graph. What we're going to cover off on is what exactly is it? How do you build one? And then we're going to go through a whole series of about 8 things that you can do to start moving customers to the right on the restaurant customer loyalty graph. So firstly, what is it? Okay, so customer loyalty is one of those concepts that, how often is a customer going to come back to you? Do you have a lot of once-off customers, or do you have a core of customers who will come back on multiple times? And it may be through bookings, or it may be through online ordering. Typically, they're the big things that you would see in that space. One of the things that our developers have been working on as a part of our R&D process is better ways that we can present a lot of the information that we collect for our customers. So people who are using things like FORBS and FROLO as a part of our website packages, they're starting to get access to a lot more detailed analytics for the systems that they're using. So FORBS, the free online restaurant booking system, FROLO, the free restaurant online ordering system. Each one of those, when someone makes a booking or an order, then we collect their email address. And that's our primary key. That's how we know that someone, whether they're a repeat customer. So what we've done with the customer loyalty graph is we go through and we analyze everyone's purchase and bookings history. So you will see that someone, when you set up an online ordering system, when you receive that first order, you've got one order from one customer. I mean, that's pretty obvious. The second order is probably going to be from a different customer. So then you've got 2 orders from 2 customers. Now, if your first customer comes back and orders again, then you're going to have 3 orders, but only 2 customers. Interesting. You will then see a number of customers who will become repeat customers. And there's a couple of things in this. If you've got, and we've got a demo that sort of shows how this sort of builds, because what we do is we play back all of your orders in sequential order. So you'll see 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you've got 4 customers in the new customer column. Then that 4 might go to 3 because one of those customers then moves into becoming a repeat customer. So they go into the 2 column. And we've set it up so that we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6 to 10, 11 to 20, and then 21 plus. So that's what a restaurant customer loyalty graph. Now, go to the website and have a look at it. We'll include some links in the show notes so that you can get an idea of just exactly what the customer loyalty graph looks like. I think it's a really cool concept, and we're doing this both for orders and for bookings. There's other ways that you can generate it as well. I mean, I find that a lot of people just don't have the time to be able to do that. This is why we wanted to be able to give people a way of viewing it, because it also means that you get an indication as to how your restaurant is going. One of the things that we're going to be doing is actually providing some comparison data so that you can see how you compare to other restaurants. I think that's a really cool component of our big data set for small restaurants, is that we're now able to start giving you an indication of what other restaurants are doing. Because you know what it's like. You ask any other restaurant owner and they go, yeah, it's amazing. We've got a huge number of repeat customers. And this is one of the things that we're finding, is that people say, oh yeah, we have a huge number of repeat customers. Then you actually look at the data and you don't. And then you start thinking, well, what is the problem here? I want to cover off on just really quickly why it's important to move your customers to the right. Now, in the demonstration that we've got, there are 3 customers who have ordered from a restaurant 21 plus times. Each one of those, and in this demonstration, the average order value is $56. I think it is, or it's 52, something like that. Those customers have ordered, on average, over $1,000 worth of food from that restaurant. Now, this is a really important concept because all online businesses operate from a concept of long-term customer value. So what is a customer going to be worth to you? And there are some businesses that might sell something like an online training course for $5,000. If they've only got one course, then they're only going to be able to sell one product. So the most that their customers are going to be worth is $5,000. For a restaurant, and it depends on the kind of restaurant that you've got, but you would be hoping to get your customers to come back from time to time. So if a customer orders from you once, then they're probably, on average, they're going to be worth $52 to you. If you can get your average customer to order from you 2 times, then they're worth $104. 4 times is $208. Now, this is a really important number to know because the average value of those customers dictates how much you can spend to acquire a customer. So you might be quite happy to spend, and when you think about it, so someone's going to spend $200 with it. If your food costs are 30%, then you're looking at $60 worth of food. You've got $140 to play with. Now, obviously, you've got your labor costs and all of those other sort of things in there. But if the difference between labor is that it's, in some respects, a fixed cost. Obviously, on a busy night, you're going to have more people in there. But there are elements of it that it's obviously a lot better to get that extra customer in and be that little bit extra busier rather than increasing your wage costs, because that means that more of that revenue is going to fall through to your bottom line. Now, if you don't have a lot of repeat customers, then you don't want to spend $20 to acquire a new customer because they're only spending $50 and you're spending $15 in food. You've already spent $35. You haven't paid any wages and you haven't paid your lease. You haven't done any of those sort of things. So the component of that meal, the marketing cost, is far too high. When you're going to sell your business, if you can show a restaurant a customer loyalty graph that is skewed to the right, people are going to say, wow, this is a really good restaurant. It's got a large customer base. That's what people are going to pay for. That's what they're going to pay a premium for. So it's really important to move the customers to the right as much as you can. And when restaurant owners first have a look at it, the thing that's really interesting about it is that it's an indication of if you're doing the 3 things of a great restaurant: great food, great value, great experiences. If you're getting a lot of one-off customers, then it's not going to be the price because they're prepared to pay the price. It may be the value that they perceive. So there might be a mismatch in what they were expecting to get and what they actually got. It might be the food. It might be the experience. So you want to start looking at why the customers aren't coming back. Not every restaurant has the same opportunity as far as customer loyalty goes. So if you're in a tourist area, then you may not have many loyal customers simply for the fact that there's no way that they're going to come back to you. So some of the restaurants, I think of one of the closed-door dining experiences that we had in Buenos Aires in Argentina. It was amazing. I would love to go there tonight. I'm not going to, though, because I'm not in Argentina. So it doesn't matter how good a job they've done. It's very difficult to get someone to come back in a tourist destination. Now, for a lot of tourist destinations, you may have a mix of your core customers. They're the ones who are going to help you keep the doors open in winter. They're the ones who you might want to give preferential treatment to during summer because you're relying on them to come in during winter when the tourists aren't there. That's one of the things that I think is really important to recognize is what is the mix of repeat customers that you potentially could have. So if in a high tourist area, not that much. But those ones who do come in, they are much more important because of the fact that you've got fewer of the repeat customers and you want every one of them to come in as often, particularly during the winter months when it's a struggle because you don't have those one-offs. But you just want to bear that in mind because I've seen some people who look at the customer loyalty graph and go, why do we suck? And it's like, well, how many of these people could come back on any given day? And sometimes you'll find that number to be actually quite low. So the first thing that you can do that we find that works really well is loyalty coupons. So FROLO has got one built in. So the free restaurant online ordering system, you can set it up to say if someone orders from us 9 times, we'll give them the 10th meal free. So every time someone orders, it works out a ninth of the price and it adds that to a loyalty discount. So we ordered some food last night from one of our customers who uses FROLO, and I'm just looking at the email now, and it says loyalty discount. Only 3 orders to go before you get $47.58 credit on your next order. So that is the loyalty coupon that I've got. I have to order 3 more times before I get that. Very interesting how, and this is taken care of automatically, only usable in one order. Very easy way to administer and highly effective. Now, how do we know it's effective? 1, we see restaurants get more orders and more repeat orders when people are using the loyalty discount. But on top of that, it's really interesting because Menulog, so Menulog in Australia, and I suspect, I'd be interested to know what Just Eat does in the United Kingdom, but Menulog used to offer the loyalty discount. Now, Menulog's real power is to be able to move around people who are looking for discounts. And the big problem that you've got, so typically a struggling restaurant will say, no, we need more orders and we're really desperate for them. So Menulog says, well, why don't you offer a 30% off discount and we'll advertise it? Because what they want to do is they want to get consumers to order as frequently as possible. And a 30% discount works really well in doing that. They will drive that and then they'll put that discount out to all of their customers within the local area. If you've got a loyalty discount and it says, you've only got to order 3 more times, it's like, I could get a 30% off discount, but I've almost got a free meal. So as part of their way of increasing the distance between the restaurant and the customer, they got rid of the loyalty discount, which I thought was really a huge indication of just how powerful loyalty marketing can be. And that's what we see with our customers. That loyalty program works a treat at getting those customers to come from making that first order all the way through to as many orders as they possibly can. And I know that with this, we're probably on our 3rd or 4th loyalty discount with this particular restaurant. So we probably ordered 30 or 40 times from them. And sometimes we're ordering $100. It's a bit variable with them. We only spent $35 last night. But yeah, a very powerful tool to increase loyalty and to move customers to the right on the customer loyalty graph. Now, the second thing that you can do, of course, is email. And this goes back to the fact that you need to be using an online ordering system or a booking system that's actually going to collect the email. Because if you don't collect the email, then they've got no opportunity to be able to email out to them. And when I say email, you can also do SMS. I view these two things as very, very similar in the way that they're executed. So sending out an SMS, sending out an email. The email marketing and SMS marketing is built into FROLO as well. Obviously, it's not free to send out SMSs. It's very interesting because people say, well, email marketing's not working like it did. And, there are issues with deliverability that we're seeing. It is getting increasingly difficult to get past the spam filters. Having said that, though, when it does actually get into the inbox of a customer, if you're providing them with great food and if you're providing them with an interesting email, then you do get quite high open rates and you can get really high redemption rates on any sort of offer. What is the offer that you're putting in? And it doesn't need to be a discount. It can be, some sort of special event, some sort of news, something to make sure that the restaurant is top of mind in the customers who you want to be buying from you. The next loyalty tool that we use quite a bit is Facebook. Facebook is really powerful. So the algorithm is predisposed to, if you put an image up of this is on our specials menu tonight and you run a small campaign to it, Facebook wants to do the best work possible for you. So what Facebook will do, it'll be put it in front of people who've liked your stuff before. Now, they may not like your restaurant's page, but Facebook keeps a record of everyone who's interacted with you. So it's going to be much more likely to show it to those people. And if they've liked 2 or 3 things in the past, then once again, you're top of mind. They're much more likely to come out. And if you've got a call to action, then that can be really powerful. So come in on Tuesday night, we're running this special or this special event, blah, 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 blah. Much more likely for them to come back. Now, the next step on from that, the one that's a little bit more advanced, is using the Facebook Pixel. This is one of the things, when we pick up customers, we find that this is one of the big things that people aren't doing. No Facebook Pixel. So what the Pixel does is you put it on your website and Facebook, if they're logged into Facebook, when they're browsing to your website, Facebook keeps track of that and it'll put them into a custom audience. And, if you're getting, say, 1,000 people per month going to the website, you might have 600 people who go into that. Now, over 6 months, you're not going to get 3,600 because obviously some of those people are going to be repeat. You might have 2,500 people in that audience though. They have been to your website. This is not cold traffic that you're targeting now. Because what you can then do is you can run an ad to the people who've been on your website. You can even run an ad to people who've been to a specific page. Now, this works really well for corporate. You can get the people who've been to your corporate page and then run an ad. Still looking for a place to run your corporate events? Come in here, this is the special that we're offering, blah, 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 blah. That works really well, but you've got to have the Facebook pixel turned on. So make sure that speak to your web developer or talk to us. It's a pretty simple thing to do. Instagram marketing, of course, I think people know my thoughts on Instagram. It can be hard to get the customers actually out of Instagram to like something. It's very low commitment. You just have to hit the like button and, you're good to go. But the good thing is that it does keep your restaurant top of mind, and that is also another thing that you want to be doing, because one of the things that I find really interesting when I look at where we eat and the restaurants that we go back to, sometimes it's like, oh yeah, I forgot about that place. And you'll be looking for a restaurant in a certain suburb and you think, oh, you know what, I could have gone to that place. I just didn't even think about it. It's about being top of mind. And it's about creating that awareness, particularly, I like running ads in, mid-afternoon, sort of, just after lunchtime. People are starting to think about going home. They're starting to think about going out for dinner. A lot of our customers are pretty busy on a Friday and a Saturday night, so we don't like to run ads driving people to those times because you're only going to create disappointment or a bit of a queue, which I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. A lot of the hard work needs to be done midweek. And I always say this, people are fighting a battle, or there's a battle for every night, every day, about where people are going to eat each night. So many people don't turn up. Instagram is one of those things. Now, the big thing is how many people in your target audience are accessing Instagram while they're at work. Now, that may or may not be the case. Depends on who you're targeting and depends on what your offer is. The next thing that you can do to move customers to the right, to increase your customer loyalty, is to know who your customers are. And I'm not talking about, oh yes, we target gluten-free people who are also vegetarian, the ways that you've niched down into the people that you're targeting. I'm talking about Bob, I'm talking about Mary. So when Bob comes in, are you greeting him by name? Now, this is the role of someone who's great with front of house, or it's the role of a great CRM system, so that you can know that Bob is coming in. And then, the thing that makes it really good is when Bob comes in and front of house says, well, Bob, it's great that you're back. Now, I know that you normally drink Glenfiddich, but we've got a special bottle of whiskey, and I'm wondering if you'd like to try, one of these. It's a similar one. I think it's a little bit smoother. Now, Bob feels like he's a really, really important customer. All you've done is taken down the fact that he regularly likes his whiskey. You've taken down the brand. You're then using that. And if you don't have a new whiskey, that's fine. Just say, Bob, would you like to start with a Glenfiddich? That's one of the things that you can do. Now, the other thing is, every now and then, intermittently, I think it's a great idea to, particularly if Bob's in with a group of friends, oh, Bob, complimentary whiskey. And Bob's one of our regular customers, and this is how we like to treat him. You can create that experience. Not only does Bob feel really good, he feels really important in front of all of his friends. Once again, what is it that you've done here? You've created an experience, and, don't sell the food, sell the experience. But this is how you can create customers for life. You don't have to do it every time, but particularly when you can create some sort of benefit and traction for Bob when he comes in, that can be really powerful. Now, special events. How many people are running special events? So when we look at Bob, if he's ticked in the restaurant CRM system that he likes whiskey, you can look at that and say, well, you know what? There's 100 people who like whiskey. You could run a small bespoke whiskey tasting night. Get one of the reps to come out and run people through it. So we've got 5 different whiskeys, and we're going to do pairings for them so that you can come along and find out a little bit more about these whiskies and, how they can be paired with entrees, mains, and desserts. So that would be the kind of special event that you might want to be thinking about. This gives people who are on your database, and that database is whether it's your email database, because don't forget, you could target people who have been to your website and like whiskey in Facebook, or you could target people within the area who like meat and whiskey, depending on what your pairing is. It might be a vegetarian. You could be doing a vegetarian whiskey pairing. You can target people who like whiskey and a vegetarian. The thing, once again, when we talk back to knowing your customers, when you put that ad in front of people who like a little nip of whiskey and a vegetarian, you can have a lot of fun with that ad because it's going to be very specific in the way that you're talking to people. Too many people aren't thinking about those really, really small niches. Now, and the easy thing to do when you're planning your campaign, because before you actually go out to your whiskey retailer and see if you can get someone who is going to be able to help you with a whiskey night, why don't you have a look at the people within, say, a 10-kilometre or 5-mile range of you who are vegetarian and whiskey drinkers. Now, Facebook might say, well, you know what, there's less than 1,000 people, so we're not going to tell you how many people are there. So that's meant to protect people's privacy. That's no good to you. But if there's 10,000 people within the radius that you think you might be able to drag people in, all of a sudden that starts to get really powerful, because you might only need 20 people to come in to make this a roaring success, particularly if you're doing it on a Tuesday night. What's your break-even cost? What do you need to be able to do that? Can you break even on a Tuesday night? Because most restaurants are losing money on a Tuesday and a Wednesday and a Thursday night. If you're not losing money on a Tuesday, it means that the time that you're going to break even, that point during the week where you've paid your lease for the week, where you've paid all of your fixed costs for the week, you've paid for the food that's been consumed so far, and you've consumed your wages, and you've paid your wages off, there'll be a point where you start actually making some profit, where you start throwing some money to the bottom line. For far too many restaurants, that comes Sunday lunchtime, Sunday night, or not. And that's a week that they're going to lose money. Now, that's a tragedy. It's a tragedy. Even though they're making really good money on a Saturday and a Friday night, they've just lost too much money. They can't make that money up in the quiet days. This is why on a Tuesday night, whiskey, vegetarian, or whiskey, whatever the pairing is that you want. And so when you're doing your marketing plan, this is when you can sit down and say, right, show me all the people who like meat and whiskey in the area. Show me all of the people who like meat and beer. Show me all of the people who like gluten-free and vegetarian. So it doesn't need to be a food pairing. You could do a TV show. So, Game of Thrones is going to be on next year. Maybe you want to start thinking about, Game of Thrones themed nights. Get a couple of big screen TVs in, run it, and, cook up some food like that. And Game of Thrones on a Monday night, that's pretty powerful. Oh, I think it's a Sunday night in the US. It's Monday for us people in Australia. This can be really powerful. So there's lots of things that you can do around that, around special events to try and do that. And this is the whole thing. When you're targeting people who know your restaurant and you've provided them with a great experience, it's a lot easier to get them in. Your cost to acquire a customer is going to be a lot lower. And of course, you're moving customers to the right. Now, the last one that I want to talk about is regular events. So this is one of those things that can work really well. And so one of our customers, Jim, he had a restaurant which he sold, and he had a mussel night. So it was Melbourne's best mussel night, and it was all you could eat mussels. They had different pots that would come out. There was chili, there was garlic, a few other bits and pieces, some garlic bread to sort of sop up all of those beautiful juices in there. This was one of the things that he was really famous for. What is the event that you're doing? Because it's one of those things that people can sort of become a habit there. Where, I'm just going to, particularly if you've got a lot of high-rise apartments within your local area, what you want to be doing is you want to be getting people to think about, I love mussels and it's a really cheap feed of mussels, so I'm going to go to, Mussel Tuesday. In Australia, a lot of pubs will do, a cheap Parma night. There's all sorts of meals around there that you can sort of create something around that gives people a reason to come back. Now, it might be discount related, and that's fine because of the fact that you're playing with the time that people are less likely to come out. You're going to run these special events on the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays, not your Friday, Saturdays and Sundays, because you should be busy then. But the interesting thing about this is that if you can get someone to come in once for your special night, for your regular event night, sorry, so this is a regular event, and then you can get them to come back a second time and then a third time, then that is pretty much a habit. And that habit, that is the quickest way that you can move people to the right. Because within 20 weeks, if they're going to come every week, within 20 weeks, well, in 21 weeks technically, if they've come every 21 weeks, then they're in the 21 plus, 21 or more category. They are your highest value customers. And it means a massive amount for the profitability of your restaurant when you've got those regular customers who are coming in week after week after week. Now, each restaurant's going to have different people. There'll be, there might be the elderly people who like coming in for that specific menu item. There'll be the people who come in every time you change your menu. Hint, how often are you changing the menu? But regular events can be a really powerful way of doing that. One of the other things that we see quite a few places doing is, we call it in Australia Tight Ass Tuesday. So when you go to the cinema, they'll have half price tickets. So often people will have a deal, and it might be just a subset of the menu, which is at a very low cost, and it's designed to be bought out really, really quickly because people have probably gone and bought their movie tickets. And you may even do it in conjunction. And I've seen restaurants where they'll sell movie tickets as well. So a movie and a dinner package on a Tuesday night. Because the interesting thing then is that you've actually got something to market on a fairly regular basis. Because every time a new movie comes out, you can say, right, who's going to like Aquaman? I'm going to find all of the people who like DC Comics within 10 kilometers of here. Let's see if we can hit them up. Now, you're going to get some people who are going to be new customers. That's fine. That's great. New customers are really important because every regular customer started out as being a new customer at some stage, didn't they? They're going to come out, they're going to see it, and they're going to go, wow, this was great, had a good feed, went and saw the movie, it was a pretty cheap night out. Then, the next time the next Marvel movie comes out, boom, you're talking to them and they're going, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. And that becomes their thing. So all of a sudden, you're hoping that Marvel bring out 12 Marvel movies a year because you know that you're going to have that influx of people who love their Marvel movies and they're going to come out and get a meal with you. So there you have it. Today we've talked about what the restaurant customer loyalty graph is. It's hard to explain. You kind of need to see it. And it's dynamic, so it builds in front of you. You can see the bars getting higher and higher and higher as we replay all of your bookings or your customer data. So have a look for the video. I'll include a link in the show notes for you. And then start having a think about how many of your customers should be regulars. And what can you do to increase that number? Because the more regulars you've got, that's the heartland of your profitability. They're the people who you can kind of rely on. And it feeds into the profitability of the restaurant. It feeds into the sale price that you're going to get when you sell the restaurant as well. And then we talked about the ways that you can move people to the right. So loyalty coupons, which is inbuilt in FROLO, email marketing, SMS marketing, Facebook, using the pixel. Don't forget about the pixel. Instagram, of course. The ways that you can know your customers by using a CRM so that you can create a great experience around them. And then special events and regular events. There's plenty in there. And I'm sure that you're not doing all of those things. Well, if you are, you've probably got, heaps of loyal customers. But a lot of restaurants are talking about decreasing customer loyalty. Partially, this is because people don't spend a lot of effort in making customers, giving them a reason to come back. The other part of it, of course, is database, theft, whatever it is that you want to call it. If you're using a third-party booking widget or online ordering system, who gets to keep the customer details? So with FROLO, the only thing we care deeply about that database, but on a restaurant-by-restaurant basis, because we don't actually correlate them between restaurants and we don't actually do any marketing to any of the restaurants. That's up to you guys, or it's up to us if you pay us to do it. But your customers will never hear from us. One of the things I always say is if you're using something like a Just Eat or a menu log or an open table, make a booking or place an order through those systems and then see what offers they send, because they may be offers to your restaurant if you're lucky. More likely than not, they're going to be offers to other restaurants and they're going to be including, more often than not, a big discount. So something definitely to think about. That's about it. I'll leave it there. Hopefully you have a busy week and I'll talk to you next week. Bye.
Want more customers for your restaurant, cafe or takeout? Every month, our marketing tools and information are used by thousands of restaurant owners just like you to help them find more customers and turn them into repeat customers. All of our tools and information is designed specifically for restaurant owners. We know you don't have a lot of time to spend marketing or learning complicated procedures, so our tools are quick and easy to use. If you're looking to increase your revenue and profits or want to work less hours, check out marketingforrestaurants.com.